be at the Combine. Can't first just commend Jeff Foster, the league, what they do. They've worked together to make the process a lot more. It's the most efficient way to get over 300 players, 32 teams, everything we need to get done, and they just do a tremendous job. They have worked extremely hard on the player experience and making it easier for the player, where it's a good experience for him, where they get more rest, they get everything done that needs to be done here. It's really efficient. I commend both Jeff and the league for all the work they've done. All right, let's go. I've said my piece, chap.
Chris, just in general, what are your thoughts on this quarterback class? What kind of stands out and makes it different than maybe other years?
I don't know if it's any different than any other year. I mean, I think there's good players. Beauty's in the eye of the beholder. I think everybody's going to see each guy see the strengths and weaknesses of what they see and how they fit their team. But it's a good group.
Chris, what are the quarterback qualities that you value? What do you kind of look for? What are kind of the first?
One that wins. No, I mean, look, you want a guy that's got a fast mind who's accurate. Like, we get caught up in arm strength, but guys that is accurate, and then who makes plays when the game's on the line. And I know I'm going to get this question, but like, I think we're seeing today, they come in all different shapes and sizes. I mean, you look around the league, and I think you can track this back to 7-on-7 back in high schools 20, 25 years ago when they started, that more kids that, you're getting a lot more athletes playing the position. So they're going to come in different shapes, different sizes, some tall, some short, some athletes, the ability to move, navigate the pocket, escape from the pocket, create plays with your feet. I mean, all those are things that we're seeing in our league. Not that we haven't seen them before, but I think it's even become more prevalent.
It sounds like you have an open-minded approach when it comes to whatever quarterback, the shape, the size factor. It sounds like you're pretty open-minded about it. You have been a guy who's been pretty stringent about vegetables and that kind of thing. Have you screwed up?
And we still are. And I'm not going to sit here and say we're not. But there's always exceptions. And we've seen that at the quarterback position here, in the past. And we've had guys that have been under 6 foot be successful. And I mean, I know there's been times I've griped that some guys can be too tall. All right. And now we're going to say they're too short. So I think beauty's in the eye of the beholder. And who do you believe in? Who do you believe you can build an offense around? And I do know this: you don't fit the offense to the quarterback. You fit you fit the offense to what the quarterback can do well. I think that's what Shane and the staff will do.
As much work as you guys do, I mean, everywhere in the league, there's still going to be 40% of top 10 quarterbacks not make it. What kind of separates? Obviously, but what do you look for to separate?
That's where the intangibles. I mean, it's so key. The ability to process, to handle, what we put on the quarterback, just not only from a play standpoint, but off the field. Automatically he gets deemed the face of the franchise, right or wrong. That's what happens. And they got to be able to handle that. And then when they have success, it's not just the moment of when they're drafted, and then it's once they even have success, they still got to be able to handle it. They can't become above the team. So there's a lot of factors that go to play in with that. And I think it's the hardest position to find. Everybody's grabbing to find them. When you find one, you do whatever it takes to keep that guy. But it's a difficult position to evaluate, difficult position to find.
Chris, we asked Shane about the quarterback questions, as you can imagine.
Yep.
He kept going back to the big factor, the intangibles, you just mentioned it. It's different going from the draft, and you guys have done free agency and trades for the last couple of years. What have you learned about those intangibles? What lessons have you learned from those misses that will impact your thinking on the position, whether you go quarterback or not?
I think being like the team believing and who you got behind center matters. You know, who they are, what they stand for, how they work. And this is not an indictment on anything going forward, but I mean backwards. But you know that matters. You know, and making sure that the system fits. You know what he plays to his strengths. I mean that's key. Plays to his strengths.
Has that not always been the case?
No. I knew that question, a loaded one, was coming. No, I wouldn't say that because we had struggles, you know, this year, and we just struggled. I mean, I've well documented. I've gone through it. You know, the offensive line issues, the issues we've had. No, I think our staffs have done a good job in the past doing that. But I think when the flavor of the court, they're going to be much different than what we've had in the past. You know, where we've had almost pure pocket guys, which I think all these guys, there's a few of them that are, but most of them can run and escape. So that changes the dynamic some.
Bring up the O-line. How much do you think last year was personnel related? Or was it something like this? You got to get acquired.
Look, we had a young left tackle. Okay. We had a new starting right guard. And as a group, it was valuable experience for those young guys. You know, we need our best players to play to their potential. And we need those guys to continue to improve. We'll continue to look and add. But that is an area where, like, I think y'all have been around me long enough. Like, it guts me. When you can't block people, it's hard to win. It is hard to win. And that's an area that we will make sure we have enough competition and enough depth, you know, here moving forward where we'll be good up front.
What makes Bryce Young such an intriguing quarterback prospect?
Well, I mean, look, guy's dynamic. He won a lot of games on a big stage. It was never too big for him. I think all those are qualities that he's proven in his college career that have made him successful.
Shane's obviously a pretty bright offensive mind. How much influence do you want him to have in how you guys stack your board for quarterbacks going into the draft?
Of course, I'm going to lean on it like we've leaned on every offensive coach we have. You know, it's not like we're just going to shut them off in a room. So y'all just go freaking coach. We're going to just draft whatever quarterback we want. They're going to have their say and they're going to have their influence.
You talk about doing whatever it takes to keep a quarterback. What about doing whatever it takes to get that quarterback? How do you weigh the motivation to get the top guy on the board versus just playing what you're at?
Well, one, and I know this is coming up because I know all the speculation out there. One, to move up, there's got to be a guy worthy of it. Okay, I know everybody in America is going to say, like, this is what's great right now. Everybody has just automatically stamped that you've got to move up to one to get it right. I don't know if I agree with that. I don't. But that's going to be the narrative, and that's okay. Y'all got to write something. You got to keep the news flowing. So, but I don't necessarily know if that's the right course of business. When we meet as a staff and we say, okay, this is what we need to do, this is the guy for the next 10 to 15 years, and we think he's the right guy, sure, we'll do it. But who's to say we won't get one at 4?
Well, I mean, the bar has to be extremely high, whether it's number one or whatever. I mean, how do you look at that, just generally, just making an aggressive move like that? What would that require to make that decision?
That we were just convicted that this is no freaking doubt the guy.
Chris, what's the balance? You say worthy, but also you want to be the one choosing for maybe another team choosing and not having someone kind of fall into your lap.
You're aware of what's going on around you, but I think as we work through this, each guy's got special qualities, okay? And is there a separating factor that within their play that you think, okay, there's no doubt this guy fits what we want to do, and he's worthy of moving up for? I'm not ready to say that yet. I'm not ready to say that there's that one that stood out. And we've done a lot of work, but I want to get our coaches' take. We want to work through it. Well, I think they all need development. They're entering a league that's a much different. And I know the one you're targeting, but look, they all need. They're not all going to step into this league and just kill it. Like the defenses are different. The disguise, the post snap reads that they have to do. Everything is faster, and so they all need development. And so I don't want to sit here and act like there's one over the other. That they all need it. I mean, I think every one of these guys need development.
So is redshirting a rookie under someone who's been in the league before on the table, like how Mahomes had announced?
If it works out that way, yeah, it's definitely on the table.
As Shane about this, just the uniqueness of coaching quarterbacks in particular, young quarterbacks in particular. Just how unique is that job? Because the job is the job of the coach.
I think allowing the kid to grow at his own pace, and I think we've seen cases through the league. You can just look at some of the quarterbacks that, like, almost laugh sometimes. Like, if you look back in history, there's guys I don't know if they would have had careers in today's world because we cut them off after 2 years. Like, if they're not in 2 years, if they're not making the Pro Bowl and going and becoming superstars, they're done. I mean, that's reality, at least from a outside perspective. But I do think you got to be patient. You got to have a plan for them to be successful. You have a plan to win with how they're going to play in that moment. And then as they evolve, all right, then you put more on their plate. But and I think each guy's different. Every guy's different in that way. And then somebody had asked, more about the pressure that's put on it. I mean, that is the pressure of that position. But you got to do what he can do. And you don't want to overload him because the more they're thinking, the slower they're going to play. So what can we do to get this kid playing fast, playing where he can be successful, and win games?
Obviously, two more. Just with the ball over the years of being more steady in the pockets, and now pretty much every quarterback in the league, decided if you can run and have that
That's good. That's a good question because I've thought a lot about it. I asked somebody the other day, do you think we'll ever really see a true pocket? I mean, I do think you have to play from the pocket. There's going to come a point because defenses are smart. They're going to do everything in their power, especially if you're a good athlete, to keep you in the well and not let you out. But the day of a guy's just a drop back quarterback, man, you just don't see many of them out there, and that's kind of the involvement of the position we were talking about earlier. And that is one of the things that's really evolved in this league. But eventually, they have to be able to play some because defenses are going to keep you in.
We talked about some of your approaches with team building, free agency, building through the offensive line. Does any of that change at all when you have a rookie quarterback in terms of the plan you're talking about to kind of bring out the best in him?
Well, you got to protect him. I mean, unless you want to just watch him get hit. I mean, okay. But you got to protect the guy. But, I mean, from a contract standpoint, I think it's been proven that you're able to do more with the team, when you're not carrying that hefty contract. But look, Kansas City's proven it. They've got one on a hefty contract, and they've built a heck of a football team around them. Many ways to skin a cat.
All right, Colts locals this way.
Awesome. Thank y'all.